Meseches Bava Metzia, Daf Lamed Ches Amud Beis. We are towards the bottom of the page. Still very, very, very important piece of information here. The Shios Leilu Nishmas of Meir Menachem Ben Akiva, Ruth Bas Shalom, Sol Bas Moshe, Elchanan Ben Doiv Ben Israel, Rafuas Moshe Arya Ben Nechama, Aviva Bas Dvoyo, Besoch Shachol Israel. Umoridin Kov Lenichse Shavui. Moridin Kov Lenichse Shavui. If you want to start from the beginning of the line starts with the word Lenichse. Lenichse Shavui. Yeah? And the question is, what are we talking about over here? So we speak about a case in which a person had to go to Chul, or he was captured, Lo Aleinu, and now nobody knows what to do with his land. He did not leave behind clear instructions as to what to do with his land, who's going to look after it. And we had a question whether once we see, Beis Din sees, the people in charge see that really the land, the piece of land is doing really bad, and stuff is starting to be neglected and overgrown, and weeds and everything, and snakes and thorns, what happens then? We had a machlokes whether or not you should allow a person, a relative, or not just allow, shall you encourage and actually davka intervene and get a person from the family, that ideally should be the first level, the next of kin, that should also be his yoresh. Maybe he should look after the land, get him to look after the land, and this way is going to do a good job. Why would you do a good job? Because he knows that really he's the one that, in case the person dies, is going to be the Irish. So why not? Maybe he gets the incentive. There's a lot. It's not. It's very interesting to get this one. We saw so far Machlokes Rav Shmuel. Before we continue, and now what we're going to say is Machlokes Tanoim. We already saw this Machlokes Amoraim. What was Machlokes Amoraim between Rav and Shmuel? That's yesterday's stuff. I'm just summarizing for you. I'm sorry the upload didn't work. It's in the process of. I'm redoing the whole thing, whatever, but the upload is not there yet from yesterday, so I'm going to summarize again. Rav and Shmuel argued regarding what? Regarding if the person doesn't even think, we don't even think that the missing person is dead, then we have a machlokes between Rav and Shmuel. Rav says, don't let the guy go into the field. Why? Because if you let him go into the field, and he's going to eat the fruit of the land, he's going to work, and quickly sow the seeds. He's not going to really develop it nicely. He's not going to look after the land like a tenant that lives in a house that's not his. And he knows he's going to have to give it back. He's not going to look after it very well. That's what Rav said. Shmuel said no. Shmuel said because he gets like an oris, as we're going to see later on, that korov, that relative that looks after the land, gets a trophy, gets a candy, he gets a percentage of the field every year. Therefore, in such a case, says Shmuel, no, because he knows he needs it for possibly a few years, he's going to look after it well enough, maintain it well enough, and he's going to look after it nicely. However, we said everyone agrees that if there are strong rumors, one aid and call a lot of people talking about the fact that possibly the owner already died wherever he is, then the relative, the son, the brother, the father, whoever that may be, has stronger interest in keeping the land nice, right? And developing it. Why? Because he knows that good chances are he's going to be the heir, right? It's not Stam Kessels in the air. He may really be the heir. And therefore we say that everyone agrees in that case, let him look after it, and it's a win-win situation. He'll look after the soda nicely, and we're Mekayim Hashavas Aveida, from Beis Din, we are responsible, and he'll probably look after it nicely, knowing that he's getting the fruit now, and he's also potentially getting the entire land as a yoresh, because maybe his moirish is the one bequeathing to him, maybe possibly dead. That's Begadol, that was yesterday. Everything will be repeated today in the form of Tanoim. Yes? Already questions. Ooh. Let's see now inside, and everything will be very clear. Be'ezus Hashem, beautiful sugya. I'm going to, by the way, read you the sugya according to Rashi. There are many people who argue with Rashi. Just to understand Rashi took us a long time. There's Ritz, Tosfos. Let's go Pashut with Rashi for now. The Tanya. We have three cases in the Brisa. And now what we want to say is Rav Shmuel's Machloikes. Rav Shmuel, the Tanoim or Amorim? Amorim. And we want to say that their Machloikes was already invented, so to speak, was already spoken by the Tanoim. Yeah? Okay, let's see. The Tanoi, the Tanya. Lenichse Shavui. The Tanya. Hayored Lenichse Shavui. A person went down to the assets, to the fields of Shavui. What do you mean he went down? He went down there to look after it by his own initiative. If this is a relative, by the way, I just want to point out, I'm sorry, I should have said it. The Ritva says if there are no relatives interested, then you give it to another person. If there's another person who wants to go into the business, bavakasha, we assume the interested parties would be koivim because there are any potential heirs. And also, because the koivim, it's mainly because why let Beis Din work twice? I said it already yesterday. In other words, you get him down to the land, and if he's really the heir, he's already there. We don't have to go through the process twice. That's what the Ritva says. Now, let's say a relative came down to the land. What do? Let him stay in the land. If the person is shavui, somebody that was captured, lo leinu Hamas, mafia, whatever, let the guy who's looking after the land stay there. Not only that, let's say he heard, who's he? The person who's now looking after the land heard a rumor. He saw in the newspaper, in the website, there are strong rumors that his relative is coming back to the country, let's say to Eretz Yisrael, and he was released from jail, released from the mafia, released from wherever. Is that good news or bad news? Some kind of ambivalent, And the Kodam, the Tolash ve'ochal, he quickly reaped the fruit and he quickly ate them up. He quickly ate the fruit before the person comes. He's a zoriz, he's a speedy guy, he's a very quick guy, and he got what he wanted. What's going on here? Explain Rashi by the way the Ritva and Tosfos understood Rashi. There are at least two ways to understand Rashi. I'm not reading Rashi inside, but basically Rashi says, the Pashtus is, as long as the person is there in the land, and he's the one who's looking after the land, and he develops it nicely, and everything is nice and good, he eats all the fruit. He gets not just like an oris, like we said yesterday, that will be explained, not only a third and a quarter, he gets the entire thing. Every year reaps everything. Every year. What happens if he hears, hey, the guy's coming, the owner is coming, quickly chaps around and eats everything? Good for him. We want to give him the incentive that he knows he eats everything, and therefore, soon we're going to see exactly why, even a better svara, and that's why he can eat all the fruit. So what did the Bailim gain? The Bailim gained everything, that his field was well maintained and well looked after while he was away, right? And if the guy's more of a mensch, the one who's working in the field, he may not eat everything and gobble it up, he'll leave some for the owner. Okay, the Eluhen Nichse Shvuin, what is this category called? Shvuin, the first category of the Braisa. Let's say his father or brother or Echad min Morishin, any of his relatives that bequeathed to him, they went overseas, Medina Sayam, Vishamu behen shemeis. Vishamu behen shemeis. Okay, so the first case is Shvuin. There are rumors that he's dead. Rumors of death. In that case, if you noticed, everyone agrees, in this case of Shvuin, everyone agrees rumors of death, that he goes down and he eats. That he does go down to the field. A tick means that really he goes down and he eats the fruit and all is nice. There are rumors of death. Then, as we said before by Rav Shmuel, if he knows that his relative is possibly dead, then he has strong incentive to look after the land nicely. Why? Because he knows maybe 50% my father is dead already in that captivity over there, wherever in China. So maybe I'm the heir. I may look after it. It's kedai for me to look after it nicely. Both Rav and Shmuel, and in this case, both Tanoim agree, definitely you should let him have the fruit and all is good. That's case number one. Case number two. Now, hayod lenichse netushim. Netushim. Natush in Hebrew means abandoned. Somebody who went down to an abandoned piece of land. That's in modern Hebrew also. Natush is abandoned. You get him out of there. X. Netushim is the person who heard that what? That Netushim, the guys in Chutz La'aretz, the owner, and you went down, get out of here right now. Ooh, the Eile Nichse Netushim. What are the abandoned pieces of land? What's the difference between this and the first case? His father, brother, any of his any of his bequeathers, like his uncle, they went overseas. Aha. No dead, no rumors, no death, no rumors of death. In other words, we never heard that the guy is dead. Then says one opinion, you don't let him stay there. No, he's not supposed to be there. Who's that? That could be very nice with the opinion of Rav. He says if the person doesn't have the incentive, I am the potential heir now. Maybe my father is already dead. Maybe I'm the owner. He'll mistreat the land. So we don't let him stay there. We don't let him be there. Bichlal says one opinion in the Mishnah. However, Omar Rabban Shimon Gamliel says, Rabban Shimon Gamliel, Shamati, Shanetushim Keshvuin. Rabban Shimon Gamliel argues, and he believes like Shmuel, that Netushim are like Shvuim, meaning just like with the Shvuim, you do allow him to go in, so to over here, you allow him to go in, and he gets some of the fruit. Here, I'll do it for the Zoom. The first case says what? Everyone agrees. If there's rumors of death, everyone agrees. Tana Kama and RSBG, that he goes down to the land and he gets a hefty, nice piece of the fruit, all the fruit actually. According to Rashi, it's all the fruit. In the case where there is no rumors of death, maybe he's dead, maybe lots of things, yeah. But the mice, there are no rumors that he's dead, so therefore the incentive is not as strong. That's right in Machloikis. The Nekama says, don't let him go down. RSBG, like Shmuel, says, you do let him go down, as we're going to see later, because it's like an oris. In this case, he also gets some kind of sechar that does give him the incentive to behave nicely and treat the land properly. That's the second case. Third case, retushim. They spot the differences. The one who goes down to assets that are called retushim. Everyone agrees that he should not stay there. Consensus, get out of there now. What are the, what do you mean retushim? You know that in the Novi, we had this word in Haftorah that we read 2 days ago. Leratesh in Hebrew means to mutilate, Jack the Ripper is called meratesh, is to really, whatever, but that's not what it means over here. Retushim harei shoyu ovi v'ochi v'echad min morishin kan. Let's say up until recently, the guy saw his father, his brother being around. They were around here in Eretz Yisrael. He knows that they went to Chutz La'aretz, but they did not leave because they were forced. People don't know where they went. They went to Chutz La'aretz, and they didn't tell the neighbors or the children or the married children or the brothers where they went. But as far as you know, maybe the guy's on holiday. Maybe the guy is enjoying himself. He just wanted to have time out, and he forgot to tell everybody that he went. Ever happened to you? A friend goes, you don't know Chutz La'aretz. I have relatives, whenever I call them, I don't know if they're in Chutzatz in Israel. 50% of them in Chutzatz, because they like to travel the world all the time. Later, potluck. To such a person, he left the field. Yeah, he could have told Beis Din, I'm going on a vacation now to Hawaii, and I want so-and-so to look after my land. He didn't. It was his choice to leave the land, foul, yeah, fallow, right. I don't know, I keep getting that word wrong. Hello with an A. Yeah, but kids he decided to leave the land like that, uncared for, and therefore it's his problem. Nobody has to interfere. Says the Ritva, yeah. What do you do if the person did go down there? That's important for us to know. Let's say the person did go down, a relative, and he's over enthusiastically looking after the land, and he started to do what? Plant and sow. And before that, he fertilized it and he did stuff. Now he says, oh, I invested in those retushin in the land of my father, who surprisingly went to Alaska for a 5-month holiday. And meanwhile, the land was, abandoned. I took care after it. But Beis Din tells him, and the father told him, nobody asked you to come to my land. You're over enthusiastically, eagerly helping me. I didn't ask you, Netushin. I went there out of choice, and I could have told Beis Din, make sure that Joey and Tommy look after it, and I didn't. In this case, says the Ritva, how much do you give him? Lamaise did invest. That is the same halacha as we saw many times before. What happens if a person goes a person who goes down to his friend's field without permission, meaning nobody asks you to come to the land and plant your trees over there, or to invest in my apartment without my permission? But the Meiser invested. How much does he get? The investor always the lowest price. We had that before. If he invested whatever $500,000 and the apartment became now worth 2 million, how much does he get? $500,000. If he invested $500,000 and somehow now the apartment became $250,000, invested a lot, but it was very big failure. He gets $250,000, he gets the lower one. The Shenken in these cases, yeah, in those cases where he does get, in the two above cases, which we're now going to analyze big and nice, Bezos Hashem, in this case, according to Rashi, when shvuin that everyone agrees the person may be dead and you have an incentive, he gets everything. What do you mean everything? He gets all the fruit of every year. He gets the fruit. He eats as long as Uncle Joe or Father Louis are away, and they were forced to be away. And I want to stress that again, they could not have told anybody, I want to leave him. They ran for their lives, or they were captured in the middle of work with a Russian mafia, Lolenu, so they didn't have time to be mitzaveh and say what should be their land. That's a Shavas Aveda. And then we tell the person who's a relative who thinks maybe his father is dead, has a good incentive to work the land. He gets all the fruit. All the fruit he gets. Once the relative is back, then he can quickly hop around. Once the relative, the real owner, is back to life, yeah, then he leaves the field, doesn't get anything. That's the most posh shot of Rashi. There are lots of different shots in here. I go straight with Rashi, the way the Ritva explains Rashi, leave you from the Balagan. In this case, we're going to see the Machloikes. Yeah, what's a Machloikes? That's a case of Netushin. He left, again, he abandoned the land against his will, had no time to give the tzivui, the tzavo, the will, not will of a dead person, to his, consent of who's going to get what, right? Who's going to take care of my field? That's an Aveda. So we have to take down the relative and ask the relative to look after it. That's the Machloikes. According to Tana Kama, you don't let the relative go there because we're scared that because the relative thinks that any given moment his live Moirish may come, you know what he's going to do? I'll explain it again. He's going to work it too much. He's going to overwork the land because there's a very big difference when it comes to land between short-term and long-term. Short-term enjoyment, like in life, is what? You zoreh quickly, many times. To crop around many, whatever, as many crops as possible, but it's going to destroy the land. You overwork it. The Shenken, the long-term guy, he's going to not eat so much now, but he's going to invest in the land and improve the land itself. That's a chash of Tana Kama. Mashenkin, Rashbag, and Shmuel, yeah, there's a tick over here, they say no. They say Netushin, because we're going to see the solution afterwards, we give him some kind of hefsachar of oris that prevents him from destroying the land. That is so far the brisa, the three-level brisa. Shvuim, Netushin, and Ritushin. I'd like to just continue to finish to the next thing, and then I will hear. We're going to have a proper round of questions. There's just a grammatical thing over here, yeah. For those of you who don't, yeah, for all of us. Frag the Gemara, Ma'ishna hanach dekarlu netushim, or Ma'ishna hanach dekarlu retushim. Why is it that when the person is forced to leave his piece of land, then it's called netushin, which is abandoned in Hebrew? And when he's not forced, he just went to a very extended long holiday in America, then you call it retushim. Where do you see that in the Torah? This is the Mishnah, Braisa. The Braisa has two bases, diktu kontoiro. Answers the Gemara, netushim, the Baal Korchoi, netushim is forced, dichtiv ashviz tishmetenu netashto. It says by Shemitah, which we've just celebrated Shemitah. By Shemitah it says, a shviz, what do you do in the shviz? You have to be notesh your land. You have to abandon the land, and you're forced to do that. Nobody asked you, honey, you have to leave the land. Says the Gemara, Afkata de Malka. Hashem himself was mafkia. Hashem relinquished your authority. Hashem was mafkir himself, the land from you. even the Chiloni who works the land in the Shemitah, he's not working his own land. I mean, it does make it mutter, but Hashem was mafkia, took away the land from you against your will, even if you're not willing to, keep Shemitah. The land is not yours, Kivyochol. Retushim, on the other hand, the Midaiton, Retushim is called that way because Retushim means a person who abandoned something, not exactly because he's happy about it, but it was his choice. It says, Em albanim rutosho. It's a terrible nevuah. Rashi goes into whole length over there by Yomi. It says a mother was forced to abandon her child, but it was her own will. What do you mean forced her own will? She heard that there's an enemy coming. She heard that the enemy is coming, so she left her kids behind. She left her kids behind, not like the Nazis who separated babies from others by force, but she sort of made the cruel choice, but she chose to. She could have done the other way. She could have done all kinds of things. She left the children out of a very cruel choice, but nevertheless, a choice. That's not the main. Okay, that's what we're saying now. And they're both abandonment. One of them is more balkochai, and one is more relatively merotzai. That's the difference. There's a who was first. Okay, go first. Yeah. Oh, Tana. Here comes a brisa adds onto all that. We're adding now a very important one line. The kulam, all of them. Soon we're going to see what all of them means. It does not mean all these. All of them, whatever that means, shamin lam ke'oris. In other words, all of those, yeah, you have to assess the sechar that they get. The guy who came, who's the guy? The relative was an avrech from Afula. His father, I don't know, had to run away. He's forced out of the country. The avrech is now working the field instead of his father. And now what? Shamin lahem ke'oris. What kind of salary does he get? Listen carefully. You all know it's an oris, yeah, sharecropper, and he gets how much? Whatever the normal going rate is, either half, a third, a quarter of the fruit from every year. So if his father is in Chutz La'aretz, in the Mexican mafia's dungeons for 5 years, yeah, I think usually takes less time, then what? For 5 years, he takes the percentage, and the rest he keeps for his father to come home. Yeah, okay, Nagid. Now, not only gets his percentage by the fruit, you have to stress that, also by the shevach. What do you mean shevach? The improvement. That was a good boy, star son. What did he do? He didn't just reap it like the bad guy who wants to chaparine and get the instant gratification. He really built fences. He really improved and got good fertilizers, and he spent money. Yeah, he had to pay the Thai workers and the Arab workers to do, and the people from the kibbutz and agricultures. He did a good job, yeah. So he gets percentage from that too. When daddy comes home, finally, daddy, I missed you so much, kind of. I'm sorry to be cynical, but in other words, he's losing the money, but he loves his father. Okay, all kinds of relationship, And then what happens? The father should also compensate him for the percentage of the hashka'a, of the investment. The son would come with the bills to his father and say, "Daddy, I invested here, I don't know, $1,000,000 shekel, and the oris usually takes a third. Give me a third, $1,000,000." In other words, we make sure that the son is pampered and really has the incentive, yeah, to really work the land properly. And how do you do that? We don't say now that you give him everything. He gets like an oris. Let's an oris gets a third. Let me get stuck on one number with your permission. Let's an oris in that country, in that city, in that region gets a third. So this son, a relative, gets a third. Frag the Gemara, Ahaya, what are you talking about? Which one of the three cases exactly gets like an oris? None of the three really seems to fit the bill when you think of it. Let's go one by one. And none of the three is like an oris. Ilema, a shvuin. You're talking to me about shvuin. What did it say about shvuin, the first case? Everyone agrees that if there's a rumor that the father is dead, we don't know, but there's a strong halachically recognized rumor that the father is dead, that the son goes down to the field, and how much does he get? Huh? Hashta, we said, Zoris Veniska have. What Zoris Veniska gets? Everything. He gets everything. The Gan Sazach, he gets 100%, we said, and you all guys nodded nicely. If so, Maida Ashbach Mibaye, you're talking to me about Maida Ashbach? What do you mean Maida Ashbach? He gets the whole thing. Not just the third, not just like an Oris, he gets 100% of the 100%. Elamai, you wanted to say what? Retushim? The bottom case, obviously not. What does he get there? Almost zero. You're supposed to yank him out of the field, get him out of the field, and say, nobody asked you to be here, and start meddling. And by the way, the Ritva also points out that some people, these are the two X's. In other words, both Retushin and both Netushin, according to Tana Kama and Rav, they say some people don't want another person to interfere in their field. Not exactly like Rav Tan in the fruit, but yes, similar. Remember, we wanted to compare the sugyas? I don't want other people to come to my field. Some people are like, I can relate to that. If my apartment, let's say I go to Chutzart for 4 months shlichus, yeah, and let's say my apartment is not so well looked after, I wouldn't like somebody else to start mamish becoming the boss over there. Leave my piece of land alone. Nobody asked you to be there. Yeah, I have a little bit of a loss. It's not such a great loss, right? Karka eventually recuperates itself. And that's why Baritushim, get out of the land. Who's asked you to be there? So you're telling me he's going to get like an Oris? No, he's going to get an Oris. How much will he get, says the Ritva? The minimum, right? You invested, you always get the minimum, either investment or result. You're not getting like an Oris, which is a third of the whole place. Definitely not. So what are you talking about? Who is the mysterious guy who gets like an Oris, like let's say a third of the land and the third of the investment and third of the fruit? Ela anetushim. The middle case, still not helpful. Leman, according to who? Rabbanon said, what? Get him out of the place, exactly like this one. Get him out of there now. Why? Rabbanon believe like Rav that really, no, he's not supposed to be there. He's going to destroy the place because he doesn't think that the person is dead. And he's like a renter who may destroy the apartment, not knowing he may become his one day. Is it Rabbi Shimon Gamliel that says that yes, Ha'omar Shamati Shanetushim Keshvuin. He said that Netushim are like Shvuin. Well, just like B'Shvuin you get 100%. Let's start talking numbers. 100%. Yeah, I know it's supposed to be before. Okay, 100%. So to here, he said Netushim Keshvuin are the same. It should also be here 100%, and not like an Oris. Not like an Oris. Should be the same according to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel that says that he goes down to the land. According to Chachamim, he Bechla doesn't touch the land, and if he's there, kick him out. According to Rashbag, he stays in the land like Shvuim. Well, Shvuim is 100%. If Shvuim is 100%, so too this should be the same. Answers the Gemara, no, here comes the punchline, big time. Answers the Gemara, and you're going to see beautiful things happening. Kishvuim veloy Shvuim. It's like Shvuim in one way, but not the other way. It's partially like Shvuim, the Netushin, the land which was abandoned by a non-dead person, is similar to the one of the dead person, according to Rashbag, but not completely. Meaning, Keshvuin the En Motzianois and Miyodid. Keshvuin means that if he's there, you let him stay. Not only that, all the Rishonim that I saw say you even encourage him to be there and work the land and maintain it and keep it fresh and nice and cared for. That's nice. However, Veloy Shvuin, on the other end, when it comes to numbers, to the three things called kesef, money, and gelt, there's a difference. Diluhosom zoris veniskal, diluhocho shamina lekeoris punto. Over here, the salary of the guy who heard rumors of death is 100%. He gets the fruit of every year all the time. Zoris, the more the better. Chaparan, eat. Es mein Kind. Over here, I'm sorry for my hand, he only gets percentage. Here he gets like an oris, like a sharecropper. And of course, he's like an oris, he only gets percentage. Yeah, he gets percent. You don't have him, it's a maskano. Oh, why does he get 100%? Rabbi Simkin will be happy with me because this Rashi is just absolutely too delicious to miss. And Machavus and I, no. Says Rashi, Dilosim Zos Veniskal. This is Rashi, middle of the page, kind of. Look for Rashi. It starts with the words the Ilohosim Zos Veniskal. Rashi is going to explain why. Why is it that the guy who heard rumors of death gets 100%, and the guy who did not hear about rumors only gets like an oris, he only gets percentage? Why is that? Yeah. Says, but you're asking good. Why? Your question is still a good question. Says Rashi. Rashi is here. He lost himself. Here. Says the Rashi. The Kevin Shishomu by Shemes. Why did he come down to the field? He's an Avrech in Afula. Why is he moving house to B'Shemesh instead of the Gemara, Chas v'Shalom, he's now working the field like some worker? Why? Because Shomu B'Shemes. He heard rumors before he came to the land. I'm not sure you guys understood that. Before he came to the land, he got a phone call from Beis Din. He said, Beis Din from Beit Shemesh. Your father, there are rumors he died in his last trip to Thailand. And therefore, now go down to the field and we encourage you to what? To take care of the field. I'm so sorry, my father may be dead, very devastating. I'm sure he's very sorry about it. But when it comes to this, what's his incentive? Potential Yerusha. So he really went down what? Thinking that he may possibly, very possibly, not sure, but maybe, getting the entire land. So his expectations are different. Doktash. The Kevin Sheshamu B'Shemeis, the guy going down to the field heard that the father died. Kinochaslo, when he went down to the field to start toiling and tilling the earth, adaita the kuliperi nochas. He went down in order to get all the fruit. In fact, the entire land. Now the father came back from the dead. Oh, I'm so happy to see you, Daddy. But Lamaisa at least will give him all the fruit. He didn't get the entire land he was possibly hoping for. At least give him what you called in English consolation prize. He was going for the gold. Give him the silver. Aval hocha. But over here, in this case, in the case where he did not hear that he died, there were no rumors of death. No, it's 2022, and every few months you hear you see his video from the captivity. There's no rumors that he's dead, but Lamaisa, no, that's not the rumors. Lava died to the Kula Nochis. No, that he never had in mind to go and get the entire thing. Why should he get the entire thing? The field is currently owned by your father, who happens to be held captive by some swindlers. And what? But you have no machshava that he's dead. So you never went for the gold of getting everything. Ela little ke'aris b'chol shana. And mimela, what's your machshava? Say thank you. They were giving you every year a third of all the fruit. You're like an aris. Your father, instead of telling you what to do, is in captivity in Hamas, and they don't allow him to speak by phone. Okay, that's all. And Lamaisa, you are your father's aris. Say thank you. Mechites, you're going to get everything, as you probably were saying, yeah? And as I told you, every year take a third to yourself. The other 2/3 leave in the fridge, in the freezer, in the granary for your father. Be'ezras Hashem will come back. Say Tilim strongly, and your father will come back. And that's the beautiful, so far, sequence of the whole sugya. So again, I'm willing to your questions, but let's just summarize. Case number 1, the relative goes down, sometimes by the encouragement of Beis Din. They encourage him to go down. He heard that the father is dead. He gets everything. Everything does mean the investment, means he gets everything. He's going to get the fruit of every year. Will he abuse the land? He won't abuse the land. Why? Because he thinks it's going to be his. So therefore, although he's going to eat all the fruit, he won't behave like a stupid teenager. I'm sorry. Yeah, and eat and destroy the land, like, driving the car too fast because it belongs to someone else. No, he will have the machshava. Eventually, will he possibly mine? So I'm going to behave carefully, even I'm getting everything, and I deserve everything. Because Lamaisa, my father, I thought he was dead, so at least give me all the fruit if I'm not getting all the land. Case number 2, Netushin, Machloikis, whether it goes down or not. Now, this is very nice. Now, that's very nice. In Netushin, says one opinion, no, because he doesn't think of death, he doesn't think of immediate inheritance, Rav Gitztin. He doesn't think of immediate inheritance. His father is alive. So I'm not inheriting, I'll eat quickly, let me eat a lot. The other opinion says no, because he's like an oris, he's not going to eat, let's say the field, this is Chiddush yesterday, last night, Baruch Hashem, the mile of an oris is like this. Let's say the field produces three tons a year, let's say. If you eat all 3 tons in 1 year, chaparine, like an animal getting out of jail, everything, I'll eat and I'll destroy the land, just eat and zorah and eat. But if he gets a third every year, he'll get the same amount within the span of 3 years. Third. So he'll want to maintain the land for longer because we give it to him in small installments. Mimela say these opinions, which are Shmuel and Gamliel, he won't destroy it, but he won't destroy it only because he's an Aris. And that's beautiful because that's exactly the words of the Gemara in the previous Amud that says because he's like an Aris, that's why he won't be mafsid. I was so happy. Now everything's clear. Everything, the circuit is now beautifully closing. What about the third guy? out. Nobody asked you to be there. What's a tushin? They went on holiday to America. They didn't tell you. They don't have to report. They didn't tell the married children they're going to a 4-month holiday. That's better. They didn't. But Lamaisa, nobody told you to come to the place, so get out of there. And if you didn't, okay, we'll give you the minimum if you're mashkia. That's the sequence of everything. There are about at least 2 more ways to explain this whole business. I want to stay nice and simple with Rashi, the way Rashi is understood by the Ritva and the Tosfos, Baruch Hashem, and not by other people. Question time. Oh, I don't know what questions. I want to add one more point. One golden word in Rashi, not in this one, Rashi before says he gets percentage, as I told you, but the fruit and the shevach. Oh, so it's good for him to invest in the land, make it nice and menschlich and stable. Maybe the father will come back from the non-dead. True, but you're going to be well compensated by the fact you'll be compensated. You invested the million, we'll give you 1/3 of the million back. So it's not bad for him to invest in it nicely and bring good fertilizers, good workers, good agriculture experts, and pay them because he will keep the bills, and daddy will eventually have to give him kioris against the investment. That's how Shmuel and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel say you can let him stay there and eat like an oris, because an oris should behave responsibly. So we give him the trophy and also make sure there is responsible. Yes, Rabbi, you want to say something? Yeah. Are you okay? After him. No. Okay, by your question, I see that I have to repeat the 3rd case, which is the easiest case. The case of Otushin is as follows. Nobody forced him. I understand you got confused because of the example of the mother and the child. But Lamaisa, the person, maybe was uncomfortable and had to leave, but not in a rush. We're going to see it later. I'm being nice to you. I'm telling you now the Gemara says later. Let's say the person had issues, financial issues, social issues, right? People move from country to country, wants to make aliyah, he feels terrible in this place, so poor, it's so bad. Very nice. Lamaisi wasn't forced, and he had time, listen carefully, he had time, the one who left, had time to tell everybody to settle things and tie the, how do you say, to close the business, tie the loose ends, thank you. And therefore, and he did not tell anybody what should be done with his field. He could have. That is as if he's saying, leave my field alone. Why? Because Yena came, the son, the brother, any kind of well-wisher, and just came without permission, leave the place. Nobody's going to say it's a pusher, but you're not going to get more than minimum. It's not that's the case. Okay. Yeah, no, he was once, and then you, yeah. Nice, very good. Frag the Gemara, bam bam. Frag the Gemara. Why should this case be different than the following case? This is a very difficult piece, and Baruch Hashem, you're getting the final product. What's the difference between our case and the following case? Let's see what the following case is, and then we'll see b'chlal what's the comparison. The Tanan. It says in the Mishnah in Kesubos, let's say a person, a man, married. I'm not saying happily or not, but he's married, and he invested a lot of money, let's say, in his wife's, let's say, apartment or in his wife's field. Yeah. What do you mean his wife's field? His wife's field of nichse milug. Anybody wants to enlighten me what's nichse milug? I forgot it since Kita. And who owns what in nichse milug? What? No, before son. The wife is the owner of the goof, the rabbi. The wife owns the actual apartment, the flat, and the husband reaps the benefits of whatever, although he has to share it with her. That man invested million shekel in his wife's apartment. Okay. And then you know what happened? There was 1 month of an improved million shekel invested in her apartment. And now he got 1 month, he got a rent of 5,000 shekels, another 5,000. He did not yet, what you call in English, he did not yet begin to break even. You know what happened then? After these 2 months, something very tragic happened. It was an entire week, a week of no nice breakfast on her side. And he kept his smelly socks all over the house for an entire week. Too much. Counselor, psychologist, divorce. So therefore, yeah, after he invested a lot in her property, right, and barely made anything, yeah, they got divorced. Oy, what a financial loss. Why? He invested so much. She gets the apartment, and he gets the 5,000, 10,000, and goes home. Yeah. Would you believe it? Husband loses in the divorce. Zok the Mishnah, tough luck, baby. We tell the husband, sorry. Look what the Mishnah says. He was moitzi expenses in her assets, which as long as they're married, he eats up. But once they're divorced, it completely hurts the goof. The goof goes back to her. Hoitzi harbe invested a lot. The ochel kima, he ate a little bit, only 10,000 shekels, which is much less than million in my case. Or kima v'ochel harbe, could be sometimes the other way. Let's say invested only 1,000 shekels, but he made the apartment look amazing, and now he made much more. Then you're lucky. Tough luck or good luck. Mashehoitzi hoitzi, mashachal ochal. Wherever the divorce catches him, either in an up curve or a down curve, that's what you have. In other words, we're not being nice to that and say, oh, cutesy man, oh, poor man. We don't say invested so much and suddenly there was divorce. So be nice to him, invested so much. We don't say treat him like an oris and give him a third. Why? Or eat everything. Yeah. What? Eat everything is a bit hard to say, but Lamaisa, we're not giving him an extra. You're getting into hot water between Rishonim. So let's stay general here. We don't give him any extras. We say, whatever you have, you have. But we're not saying you're getting like an oris, right? And why don't you say the same thing over here? If the son invested in his father's land, the father came all of a sudden out of the dead or out of the alive, we don't say to the son, whatever you ate, you got, and all the rest give to the father. No, we say he deserves everything, and he gets like an oath from all previous years, right? Or in one case, he gets everything. We give him a lot of benefits one way or the other. Why? You see that when it comes to a husband who also invested money in someone else's apartment, which is the wife, it came to an abrupt end, just like their divorce is similar to the father coming back from the dead. And we don't when the father comes back from the dead, then we don't say, give him everything, give him the entire land, the entire shevach, and you stay with nothing. Whatever you ate in the past, you ate. What's in your stomach, on your pocket, you keep, and all the rest give your father. We don't say that. We say to the son. That's why you have to know he gets a third of the shevach, right? He comes to his father and says, Daddy, I'm so happy you came. But I invested, look, in new sprinklers. I invested in new fences. I paid the Thai workers. I paid. Give me now a third of the 2,100 that I invested. But the son and father, we say that. And but the husband and wife, we don't. Why? Says the Gemara, no. Says the Gemara, we're going to now give it another analogy, and that will explain why we don't compare it to the wife, and yes, compare it to another case. Yeah, we're not giving the answer now. We're going to give it a better comparison to another case, which will sort of, eclipse the first case. Says the Gemara, says the Gemara, no. If you want to compare the relationship between father, son, field, disappeared guy to the mafia, to the case of the husband and wife who got divorced, I'll give you the right comparison. Listen to the following case. It's either the Tnan or it's an Amoyer talking. One tiny word, excuse the pun. Let's say a man married a minor, mini minor. He married a girl who's less than bat mitzvah. So now, halachically, midoraisa, if her father is dead, her mother and her brothers may marry her off, but it's only midivrei soifrim, only midorabanon. And because it's such a dorabanon dikish shaky thing, Memela, that girl below bas mitzvah, you should know that la halacha. I mean, halacha doesn't apply today so much. A girl under bas mitzvah, let's say he doesn't treat her nicely, or for whichever reason she doesn't like the marriage, it's extremely easy for her to get out of the marriage. Much easier. She does mi'un. Mi'un, she goes to the makolet, she goes to men or three men, any man in the street, and she says, I don't want to be married anymore to that daddy. Marriage is over. Very, very easy, even easier than the most permissive country in the world. In other words, that marriage of a Tana can terminate by her side only, without him even knowing or wanting or caring. She can terminate the marriage at any given second. Well, very nice for her. We give a lot of rights to that young girl, yeah, okay, for obvious reasons. The man may stay now, with egg in his face, because financially speaking, let's say that girl of 10 years old, she's a top pianist, and I don't know what she is. She made millions before her marriage, yeah, a whiz kid, and what, in international competitions, and she has a field. She has an apartment she brought into the marriage, and that daddy, the big boy, is 15 years old, yeah, he is the one who invested in the apartment, and any given second, as opposed to regular marriage, where divorce is long, hard, and very tedious and very bureaucratic, when it comes to divorce of Ktana, it can catch him anywhere within seconds. He's the one who's compared to Mr. Son who came to the field of the father, not knowing that any given second the deal will be over. And you know what it says over there, but the husband of the Ktana, that his arrangement may end any second. We say over there, I'm rereading again. The one who invested in the apartment of the little girl who may leave him brokenhearted, stop the marriage any given second, that we're comparing to a person who invested in the field of somebody else, knowing that somebody else can come any given second. Now the Gemara says beautiful words that finish the whole thing beautifully. Alma, that is to say, he's going into a business knowing that it's extremely shaky. Any given second, daddy or uncle, my moirish, may come back. I'm investing in my kishkes. They will come and take everything. I'm investing million shekel in that field. I'm so happy my father's back from Thailand. And my father said, okay, it's all mine. You're not getting anything. You know what I'm going to do? Takina le Rabbanon. Rabbanon made it takana. No, you should be like an Aris and get a third in the Shevach and get some of the fruit, all the fruit. You should get a lot of trophies and candies. So he should not make the land mufsad. So he should not, how shall I say in English, should not mistreat the land and make the land go bad. Yeah, in other words, you shouldn't make a lot of zera. In other words, he shouldn't say, oh, my father may come any second, let's chaparine and, reap again and sow and reap and sow and reap and destroy the land before that is coming. That should not be his machshava. So Davka, in that case, we say, no, don't worry, kid. Behave nicely. Be like an Oris. We'll give you a third. Even if your father comes in the middle of the night, in the middle of unexpected, you'll still get compensated for all your expenses. Ochonami over here, Tekin Rabbanon, I'm sorry, the other way around. Okay, in other words, and the same thing, but the husband of the Ktana, we want the Ktana to be happy on both sides. We care about children. And we say we want her to be able to get out of the marriage in a jiffy, any second. On the other hand, that will make him not such a great husband investment-wise. He will not invest. Why should invest $1 million in her apartment if she can leave me in a second and all the rabbis on her side? Why should the Bechlan invest? That's why, what did they say? Don't worry. Even if she terminates the marriage very quickly and abruptly and suddenly, still you'll get, like an Oris there too, you'll get a third, you'll get nice percentage of what you invested, more than the guy who's Shaloi Bilshus, and therefore that will be your benefit. Very, very nice. And that's like an Oris. That's the second case of an Oris. You get good percentage of what you invested in case of what? Of an unexpected termination of the contract. As opposed to, let's go back to the first case, Mashenkin, husband and wife, that it's not so easy to get divorced, and in fact, it's up to him. Yeah, smelly socks and no breakfast, or whatever the issue may be, or she talks to her mother too much, whatever, or I don't know, whatever it may be that happened. First of all, it's a long process. It doesn't happen so suddenly, divorce. And secondly, it's up to him. He can decide when to give her the gets. It's not such a misken, and it's not so sudden. So don't be so merachem on poor little husband. Lamaisa, it's not so this. And therefore, we say, listen, you invested so much money, and he got divorced so quickly afterwards. Didn't you see it coming? Or couldn't you postpone it? Couldn't you go to a better psychologist? Or you're not such a misken, yeah? And therefore, in that case, we say, listen, tough luck. If you invested $1 million, then you decided to divorce your wife 2 months later, eat the pudding that you cooked. Then you'll get 10,000 meager shekels from 2 months rent, and the $1 million invested goes to her. Why? Because that's life. Be an adult. As opposed to the one married by Ktana, when it's not up to him. That's life, that's fate against him. And that's also our guy. The father came back from Thailand. I was sure he was going to stay there 10 years. Those unexpected things that are not up to me, and I invested a lot, then Chacham are being nicer to him, and they give him a lot of money. Okay. Quick ones, maybe 1 or 2 questions. Yeah. So, just to get a little bit further, now, Frag the Gemara, the Kulan le'tuye mai. We said at the beginning of the statement here, beginning of the page, the Kulan Shaman and Koris. All of them, they get the salary. How? Like in Oris. Who's all of them? So far, it's one guy. Out of all cases, who's all of them exactly? It's exactly one case. Who are you coming to add? Le'tuye. Answers the Gemara, yes, we do have somebody to add to the story. Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel. Says Rav Nachman b'shem Shmuel. And now we're going to talk more, and you'll be happier, Baruch. What kind of abandoning and how forced were the people? Shavui shenishba. Everyone agrees that a captive that was captured, yeah, moridin kov l'nechosov, right? Everybody knows that. Against his will, he really would have loved to tell people, "You look after my land. You look after my land." He didn't. They came in the middle of the night, the mafia, the Hamas, the Arabs, whoever, and they snatched him out. They yanked him out. He had no time. Then, of course, you get a Karov to come to his field and take care of things. Yotzel das. What happens if he went on a nice long vacation to America or to Chutz La'aretz, one of the two, either America or Chutz La'aretz, I don't know which one. He went out a long holiday without telling anybody. Don't get anybody to come to his field. The field is abandoned. It's his choice. He's a very well thought guy. I know the guy. He likes to travel a long time. He decided to abandon his field. Abandon midas. He decided to not be mafkir. He decided for a few months his land will lay fallow. The Rav Nachman. So far we didn't add anything. Rav Nachman Didei Omar. Rav Nachman himself, not quoting Shmuel, says, "Oh, this is the second guy which we want to add to this list. Boreach is like a shavui, meaning what? Let's say the person was not mamish snatched and yanked by the mafia in the middle of the night and had no time to talk, mamish a crime. He ran away. Oh, people who run away from a country, sometimes they're not so rushed. They can still make a phone call before on the way to the airport and say, "You look after my field," right? Oh, so there comes the question. Says the Gemara, Baruch Machmasmai, what kind of runaway is he? Why did he have to basically defect, so to speak, and leave the country? Let's say he couldn't pay his taxes. Couldn't pay his taxes. The taxes are too expensive. It's the end of the year now, of the Goyish year. Oh, so many can't pay the taxes. He packs his bags and leaves. That happens a lot, right? Then, Hainu Ladas, that is not called forced enough because he had time. He looks at the bank accounts. He talks to the accountant. Oh, he has to leave the country, but it's not mehayom lehayom, from today to today. He still has time to close and, as you say, tie the loose ends and close businesses. He could have just told somebody, "You look after my field." So that's not called somebody who's so rushed to go out. He's running away because there are criminals who want to kill him. He got a nasty phone call. He's not mamish yanked out of his house to the Chevy, but the mafia said, "We know where you live." He doesn't know if they'll come today or tomorrow, but he's really, really running to Netbag like a maniac, and he doesn't even think, even if he has time, he doesn't have the peace of mind to think of his 10th field in the north. And therefore, in that case, that guy too is considered like a boreach. Depends whether he's dead or not dead. That's a different question with our rumors. But conceptually, he also is like an oris. He's like an oris because why? Because we say that either it's a person who was mamish captured, and there's rumors that no rumors of death, or he's a person who wasn't captured, but the criminals are mamish after him, so he has to run away ASAP. In Japan, one of the beautiful stories about Tshuva, it's a long story, maybe I'll tell you one day. He did a favor to the son. He saved the life of the son of the Yakuza, of the main mafia of Japan. So they told him, "We can't let you live. We're supposed to kill you. But if you leave within 24 hours, kill we didn't know, then you can leave. We won't kill you. Right? You can leave Japan within 24 hours in Israeli." So he left within 24 hours, probably within 24 minutes, and his life was saved. It's part of a very nice Shdocha Prati story. Maybe I'll tell you in the Siyum. Or Loja, meaning, Shir is over. It's Locha Rabba.